Okay.
Let me turn on the control panel from my phone. Do this. I don't want to do that.
I got
Done.
you.
Here it is. Let's see. God dang it. Okay. No, I don't want to join. Well, we're just gonna have to wing it.
Okay.
Gosh, what is going on here? I don't want to join the stream.
It's live as I'm
Yeah.
sharing it.
Yeah, but let me see if I
We got people on.
okay. I don't want to do that. Well, oh my God.
To see the chat.
Oh, yeah, we're on, but I can't tell how many people are on. That's okay. All right. So you've been in hibernation from what I just pick up pieces here and there. I remember you sending me a note saying that you were on the deep dive these last, I don't know, 10 days.
Yeah, did Morgan snitch?
No, what happened?
Was it
Did you?
just you? Oh no, that's
No,
okay.
you sent me a message and you said that you were, when I rescheduled, you said you were in bed most of the time.
Oh, that was before. Yeah. I've had two kind of phases. So I had a phase a couple of months ago where I thought I had COVID. I had all the symptoms. They're very severe. Couldn't breathe. Thought I was going to go out of my body. And after that, I went to Glastonbury and had an extremely deep experience with some angels
What happened?
and some water.
Really?
Which was life changing because I really saw eyes wide open some very beautiful things in Chalice Well, and then that kind of cascaded. It started to strip me back even more. And I did a little retreat with the dragons with some beautiful souls, and towards the end of that, the energy was so strong, and that was as it was ramping up about 3 weeks ago, just recently. And right on the back end of that, I hit a wall, and at the same time had a Kundalini kind of soul walking and the pathogen experience at the same time, and really felt like I was going to die.
You felt like you were going to die?
I mean, you don't die, but
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
saw
know.
my body. What happened was my nerves. I mean, it's cross between physical and energetic. Obviously, we're embodying, so we're having a big process. All of us. I watch people again and again coming on here and conversations. It's the same.
It is.
I invited this process. I did a number of years ago to show up, to be here, to be embodied, to work through my shit, to be authentic, all of these things. And the dragon energy was just so strong in this retreat. It ripped my heart open.
Really?
And it felt like all my nerves one afternoon. I'd just gone to have some stuff with my teeth done, and I came back, got in the car, and I thought that I'd missed that I had a heated seat. I thought, oh, I've hit an accidental button that I didn't know I had, and the seat is heating my spine up, and I felt like my spine was burning, but it didn't stop. And it just continued until it felt like boiling hot liquid was being poured in through the top of my spine. My neck was tightening. It felt like it was going to tighten so much at my throat that I was going to be extinguished. So when I say I thought I was going to pass, I thought I was going to go out and not come back. It was the point at which I surrendered, at where the pinch was when I was shown every single unconscious thought that I've ever had and had to live
Wow.
it.
God, so
And it
many
was
people are having,
extremely dark.
so many people are having like life review things. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't a life review that came after. This was more like what I feel now is very different to how I was before. Like I feel like we've got this thing that we think is life, that we
yeah, yeah,
think is the reality.
yeah,
And underneath it, we've had all this, not because anyone's to blame, we've chosen the experience of polarity. We've had all these polarity thoughts, but they actually are creative because we're creative beings, and
right,
they've gone into a parallel universe or
right.
dimensional plane, and they were all alive. Like my thought forms were alive.
They are
Like when
alive.
I've judged somebody, when I've thought shit things about people or myself, all of this stuff, and it was alive. The energy was alive, and some of it was really challenging.
Yeah,
Some of it was advanced technology, some of it was very incoherent and broken up. It was all jumbled up, like being put in a blender and not knowing which way is up, not knowing
let's
whether I
go.
was human.
Let's go back to that for a second. But I got to say this first. When you said that thing about you thought you had a heater in the car seat or something like that, I had absolutely, unequivocally, had a super deja vu. Like I'm like, she already told me this before. Like, and then the thing about these moments of like, I don't think people, I don't think we've gotten, we realize that we're co-creators and that our thoughts are alive, right? I mean, but I think something's going on with becoming aware that this includes the mirrors in our lives. This includes other people. Like if we think somebody is whatever, we're actually creating that. Even though they're a sovereign soul, that energy can make an impression on them. You know what I mean? Depending on how fortified their energy field is. I mean, we think somebody's not all that, and we throw that out there. I mean, this is part of the non-judgment and the superiority and all that stuff. But what about this technology? You said some of it was technology. What did you mean by that?
Well, it's me denying myself,
Mm,
and I've been a king denier of my um, the
badassery.
truth of the connection of what I've rocked up on Earth for, and I've been afraid of it, but denying it and playing small,
Yeah,
even though it looks big. I haven't
right.
been playing big. I've been playing small because I've been afraid, and I was doing lots of subconscious things to sabotage myself without knowing. This is the thing that we have to be coming up for this now. This is
Yeah.
accountability
Well,
time.
that's the program. The whole program is, some people have been talking about, like, I think it was this past weekend. I kind of had it. I know Morgan had it. I talked to 2 or 3 other people I know. They said kind of the same thing. Somebody came on the show and said it really well, and I can't remember who it was. Like, almost like thoughts were being imprinted upon us, or kind of like a surge of this, psychotropic type of messages, or like I had people telling me, I don't know why I was feeling this way, or I felt like somebody was in control, like it was attaching me to 3D, something like that.
Yeah, some of it is, it depends. I think we could have these conversations, and obviously there's many different perspectives to take
Mm.
depending on where your witness is. But we could say some of it is deliberately put out there, but I just don't believe there's a war going on at all. I feel it's
I'm
perfectly
with you.
formed.
I'm with you. I think
perfectly and
it's just this.
absolutely divinely
Yeah.
formed for the perfection of what we
Yeah.
all consciously
It's just the
experience.
story. It's the story,
Yeah, we've
you
got
know?
to learn not to pay attention to it. And it's like what I call all of those, as much as we've got stillness, we've also got the ability to create chaos and
Of course.
infinite,
Yeah.
eternal thought forms and thought realities. And we can do that infinitely as much as we want. We can journey anywhere, and that is going to be there if we want to listen to it and look at it. But now, once you've acknowledged it, it goes silent. So for me, once I'd acknowledged all that stuff, it went got to explain really in English, but yeah, kind of it's just there. So those kind of weird, they're like ticker tape forms. Some of it's very artificial intelligence, again, in a very loosely artificial, because again, we don't want to make separations too much. Um, the human morphogenic field creates some quite interesting things, and we're
Yeah.
just becoming aware of them. And we used to be afraid of them, and we can make them into anything that we want.
True. True that. But this whole thing with like um a lot of people having these feelings that they feel like they're going to die, even though you kind of know you're not going to die, but you feel like you're actually going to die. I've heard people talking about that recently. And something you just said came, yeah, there's a lot of, are you having any of this happen? Like
Yeah,
the last few days, I've been seeing things.
yeah. Even
Like
last
I've
night.
actually been seeing, yeah. You know what? Last night happened to me. I was going to go to bed. I go to bed really late. Like it had to be like 4 a.m. or something. And I turned all the lights off and I had a candle on in the lounge. And, like most people, I got one of those big flat TVs. Anyway, I looked over that way, and so it's the TV, and then it's on a diagonal kind of cabinet, diagonal to the corner of the wall. And then behind it, there's the wall, the corner. So there's a lot of depth. But I looked over this thing and it turned into a flat surface, like it literally morphed and it turned into a flat surface, and it was a portal. It looked like a mirror with dark glass. And I was going, what the F? And I stood there just looking at it. This went on for like 5-10 minutes. And I kept thinking, this is maybe I'm tired, but the whole corner turned into like a dark, when I say dark mirror, like, so imagine looking at a mirror, but the glass is a darker color. So it's not so much of a mirror effect. I couldn't like really see myself, but I could see inside of it. I can't remember what I saw, but then as I was looking at it, I was taken back to the original studio in Houston, where in the original studio, on the main wall that I was facing, where I would like, be looking into the screen, it was mirrors from the floor to the ceiling. So it was just a wall of mirror. And I was taken back to that point, and a couple of other places where there was a mirror. And I was basically told those were portals. You were pulling in energy and transmitting energy, both not just to the earth, but to the multiverses or something like that, which came when I looked in the corner and saw this dark mirror portal. That just happened last night. But are
Makes
you
sense.
having
Yeah,
stuff
there's a
like that?
couple of things that
Yeah.
came up there. It's funny because, like since I've been in a retreat, my awareness, whatever this is very, very soft and very, very open. So when people speak, I literally, don't know whether I become you, but I see as you, in a kind of way I can't explain, because it's a whole, like my wholeness of my body feels it, everything like that, and it's so soft. In all this time when we think of protection. So last night, I I think the last sort of the walk in, whatever happened, I think it's just expansion really, rather than
Yeah, I
this
think
thing
so.
sits
I
out there
think
and
that's
walks in.
actually,
It's just the energy.
yeah.
We've come like Velcro away from the Matrix. So it's soft, but it felt like when I was lying down, maybe I should backtrack. Sorry, Todd. Maybe I should just backtrack into the other
Backtrack.
thing first, and then this one will make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's happened is that I've got nothing to gauge this against. I'm just showing up authentically. So the over the time that I've become more aware, obviously I've shared things that I feel and see from this plane of multiverse. And I felt as I've embodied the stronger connections with beings which are part of my soul grouping. So when we think of a pillar of 12 with an octahedron in the center, there's 12 pillars with an octahedron at the center. I've drawn this consistently for 5 or 6 years. And I always felt like we would meet in these groups, but I never thought that I would be at the center of my own pillar with these other beings. So they've started to show themselves that the things I thought were guides was aspects of my consciousness alive in other dimensions. And 5 of them, I am now in a two-way or multi-way simultaneous living connection, as if we're all living as one, but we're in different planes.
So are
It's
you,
very sensitive to talk about, and it feels very exposing because we are very new. This is very new to be this in this aware. I've got different levels of connection still. That's not all the same. I'm still merging.
yeah.
This is new. I don't have words for it. I might even
No,
cry. It just feels so emotional.
I can pick up on it because,
Yeah.
okay, because, and first of all, the 12, the 13 makes totally resonates. And then secondly, and I'm just going off of what I can pick up from what you're saying, like at a cognitive level, but it's more of an energetic or say intuitive or telepathic level. There's been this, it happened to me last night again, because I remember when I laid down, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I knew, and I'm with you. I think these walk-ins are higher aspects of us, right? But anyway, so what happened was something came in, and it really came in, and it just said, I'm going to merge with you. And before I could even, like, I mean, I said yes, obviously, but it went right in, boom, and it was done. But that's what I was getting over the previous 3 or 4 or 5 days. I can't really put a time frame on it, but I know it's been very recent, like within the last week. And that is that the understanding that, okay, I guess the soul is okay. So the soul is embodied, which it always was. Call it the higher self, whatever. And that what was the message? It was like, you're very similar to yours. You're taking these aspects and you're bringing them in. It's part of your multi-dimensionality, and they're all operating as one in a conscious human, right? So it was like what I was being told was, being conscious isn't being recognizing that you're multidimensional or that you are your soul, your higher self. It's actually consciously living as a human with this incorporating more and more every day. That's what I was being told. And then from there, it went to, okay, does that mean I'm going to be able to do this and do that? You can do whatever you want. You're in a physical form. The only thing holding you back as these things continue to merge and so on is your belief that you can't teleport, or your belief that you can't do whatever things that we thought we couldn't do while we're in these vessels. Very similar to what you're talking about. That's how I feel about it.
It's shifting though, all of it. We had this conversation back in May a little bit. I think it feels like we were touching on that when we were talking last time. The thing about what I felt last night was significant, because this is all about the energy is so strong for in the UK in the evenings. It starts about this time
Really?
and it goes up and up and up and up and up, and that's why we can't sleep and we end up being awake all night.
I can't sleep.
So it was just so strong,
Everyone's
and I was
saying that. Yeah.
lying in the bed. Now the aspect of me, it's like I can you can feel your light body. It's real, it's there. Mine is about 8 foot tall. It's much bigger than my human body. It's vast, like a portal. So this is like, it feels like a portal, and it's running fast. It's the data streams are running fast. My physical body hasn't caught up yet, which is why I'm making it massively easy, because it feels like the spin is changing. I noticed it in my brain the other day. Again, it's changing. So there's a lot of rest required. So when I was in resting phase, I'm kind of not awake and I'm not asleep and I'm not really anywhere, but I'm in a kind of off position.
An off position.
Off position, because I need to be off to accommodate. And in that space, that stillness, maybe a little bit like you, I felt that body so strong that I was phasing in and out of that body. So I had the physical body, but if you'd have seen me, I'm not sure you'd have seen that I was actually on the bed anymore. I'm not sure whether I would have been visible. I was phasing, and I felt, the honest feeling was, am I going to go in that body and stay in that body now? It felt like it was just phasing, like I didn't have to move anywhere.
Was it your light body?
Yeah, I didn't feel like I had to physically go anywhere, that I was just, I don't know whether you physically die or whether you just move over, but I felt like I was, it was like a magnetic pull. I wasn't initiating this. I was in neutral, and I was, that body was so strong in its spin that it was like a wind pulling you there. And I thought it was so, it felt like, oh, I could breathe. So good. And it just felt like that was maybe getting whatever this energy is, it's moving these bodies into position. So we are very strong. We're not, the human isn't integrating this. Yes, we're going to evolve this, but we have to, it's like incrementally transducing the energy down, and those different levels of awareness are moving at different speeds. If you like, of the data is moving at different speeds, like Jason Estes talks about this a lot, and I really align with that.
Well, I had this week, and I talked about this on one show, where I laid down, I connect, and it was like what you said. First of all, it was magnetic, definitely magnetic. And two, I didn't have to connect. I just happened to lay down at that time, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to go to bed. I usually connect before I go to bed for at least a little bit. But before I could even do anything, I felt this magnetic pull. And I woke up, and I say woke up, I didn't go to sleep, but I was gone for an hour and 45 minutes. Because what happened was, when it almost like I came back into my body, I guess would be the best way to describe it. But it was all instantaneous. The hour 45 was instantaneous. The moment I guess I came back in was instantaneous. My eyes were open, but I guess figuratively speaking, I opened my eyes and I went, what the hell just happened? And I looked at the phone, and an hour 45 had gone by. And I don't have any recollection of what went on for that time. I know I wasn't asleep though. So that you're saying this about the and I don't say involuntary, but that it happens without you even trying, right? I mean, that was kind of new.
Like mentalism over it, or want or need. It's not from desire, or it's just coming because it's the natural state of alignment. Yeah.
And then the other thing I noticed too is that's been a little bit different the last couple of weeks has been the light body. You know, the physical body's been communicating for like a year and a half at a really much higher level. A lot of people have talked about that. It's much clearer. Don't eat this. Go lay down. You know, these different directions. But what I'm talking about is the presence of the light body in the body, like sensations that I get. Like last night, I had this burst of electric energy go through my left hand. Like my left hand was doing some weird stuff, and I was laying in bed, and then something came in and said, move it to this, you know, like just turn it. You know, there was like this pressure in my elbow, and you know, like a sensation of, I don't know how to explain it, but they said, just turn your hand. I turned my hand, and then all of a sudden I get this jolt up through my left hand into my left arm, and I tried to reproduce it, but it didn't. I couldn't. And then I kind of got like, oh, you already got this. You just received it. You're not going to be able to play with it like a toy, you know?
Yeah, I can feel it. It feels familiar as well. Like I get all sorts of, I mean, it's been going on for a long time with me for many years, this stuff, but it isn't necessarily a whole body, is it? It's like, oh, my right eye is getting like, it can feel like it's been pulled or vibrated, or I've had a whole thing with my teeth, my jaw particularly,
My teeth,
releasing tension out. Again, yeah, the nerves is an ongoing thing, but yeah, sometimes it's just tiny little points, and it feels like like a stargate opens up. And there's a new coherence field, and it can feel like, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like almost like say like that little part of the physical atomic structure is moving, you kind of shrink into it as if that's then the whole universe. And then it's like as if, yeah, you're all the beings that are working on you, and you're like being operated on, but you are in it in the center, but it's actually just a tiny little part of your physical body. We're moving from the big to the small, but it's because there isn't really any big and any small. It's an illusion. It's an illusionary.
Yeah, I can relate to that too, almost word for word what you said about the I'm getting worked on. I can literally, like last night again, now that you're bringing this up, I remember all over, and knowing that there were hands all over me, basically, like working. And I say that not my physical bodies, like you said, one body, but it was, I could definitely feel it. That you say that now, I just remember that was happening last night. Last night was a pretty cool night, actually.
Yeah, it was. It's very joyful as well. I felt a lot of joy, and like that buzzy. It's orgasmic, but in a beautiful way. Like, you know, your heartgasm.
Is there anything that's not beautiful about the orgasmic sensation? I'm kidding.
It's just so, I was just so excited. I got this childlike excitement. I was talking to Denise Chadwick, and we were talking about some co-creation. I get so excited now by things, and talking to the lovely soul I do Light Language Lounge with, and we were talking about some new graphics tools that I can use to make my codes fit what I'm dreaming. And it was just, everything's so exciting. It's like I feel it in my whole being, instead of it just go, oh, that's nice. It's like
yeah, look at these comments. These are a lot of things that people are talking about, and some of what you're talking about, lights inside the eyelids. I'm seeing, when I close my eyes, I'm seeing this light. We were talking about on the show the other day, palpitations in the solar plex area, feeling telepathic touches, fluttering heart. I saw another one here. Oh, this is what I want to ask you about. God, it's crazy how these things happen in perfect sequence. My spine was being worked on last night. So like over the last 10 days, I've noticed that there's been stuff going on with my spine off and on for a long time. But over the last 10 days or so, the very top of my spine and the very base of my spine, I've been hearing clicks, you know, like literally hearing clicks, like I'll turn and go click. And what's happening is it feels like the physical extension of the spine.
I'm not doing this deliberately, just so you know.
That's okay. Well, I know that.
Just in case people are watching.
They don't know you by now, then they'll get to know you now.
It's just this crazy bird doing funny things. It feels like this is like yeah, like a stretch. I mentioned it to my mentoring client this morning. She was the same. It was an exact thing. I drew a light structure for her with spinning and rotating discs, and it was all about stretching. We were talking about it's not like a physical chiropractic stretch, it's a soul stretch. It's a and I think what my hands were doing there was, as you were talking, was just tuning into what you were tuned into. And it looks like counter rotating informational fields have kind of been overlaid into the core structures to help us to stabilize the new frequencies that we're moving with. They're not really frequencies, but you know what I mean.
That sounds good to me.
Waves.
As I look at all these 11s on my phone, like what's going on with that? No, that sounds it sounds like the physical, the physical following the energetic, where like the spine's being stretched, where the what I got when it happened to me this last time was how it was the clearing the channel in the physical to allow that life energy to flow through, or something like that.
Yeah, I did it this morning. I just got up and it was like when you hear that.
Yeah,
I just walked into the hall and I think I just like moved my arms up a bit or something, stretched my ribs, and the whole thing went.
Wow.
So yes, it's very aligned, and obviously I can't read the comments, but I feel there's reflections in the field.
And then the other thing is, somebody said hearing the waves coming in, physical body vibrating as of it is completely liquid, spine on fire. This thing with the magnetic vibration and the sound, I'm getting this really high, really, really high pitch sound, like, but it's got like a staccato in it. It's like got a little, it's not like a clear, smooth sound. It's just got like this little staccato, this little beat in it. And then what he was saying about the magnetic vibration or the electric impulses. I mean, this is ramping up pretty quick.
Yeah, my whole spine's going now. Oh my woolly word, I've got a massive activation going through. You always set it off. Oh my god. Right. So yeah, it is. Yeah, my voice has been doing that a bit as well. Like now I'm a bit more freer with the light language and just moving. I'm less inhibited, let's say, in my own sabotage. There's more interesting overlaying tonal things coming when I just let it go. So there's lots of, it's very interesting, isn't it? It's just so beautiful, the variance, but we've all got this common theme. I think the theme is just embodiment. And presence. It's simple, isn't it? It's like coming away from the identities, not sticking to anything, not getting lost in Velcro kind of experiences that suck you in unless there's a learning goal for that. And it just feels very free, like we've actually birthed something and it's real. We're not shitting around anymore. This is real.
No, we're not. Well, and here's the crazy thing is, we're doing this, and every morning you wake up, there's some crazier BS that's being.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like I got up this morning, and I don't go looking for it, but I do check on things. It's not a big deal. I'm not attached, and maybe I have to totally get away, or we have to totally get away from even reading anything. I don't know. But when I open up the news feed and I see somebody puts up a thing where in Germany, the police are going from restaurant to restaurant checking people's papers. And I'm thinking, holy shit. This is literally in Germany, where this kind of stuff was going on.
Oh yes.
In World War II, Yeah,
it's a time slip. We're having a time slip. It's great, isn't it? Isn't it fantastic? It's just so crazy. I was I was so charged before this is why I had to collapse, because I was getting drawn into this, and I was getting charged. I was angry.
Oh, you're getting charged.
I was going, my last incarnate life before this corporal life, if we're in linear time, was
Right.
in France in the Second World War. So I
Oh,
have a lot of charge related to European issues.
yeah.
And I was getting very, very riled. And then I got attached into Australia. I was feeling extremely sad, distressed, grief, moving all this energy. And it was reaching a crescendo for me. And that's when I had the unconscious thought, solidarity, whatever it is, embodiment. It was as if my soul expanded, and now I'm just like looking at this stuff, and I know it is serious. I'm not diminishing the seriousness for people in any way, but to me, I look at it and I'm just like, it is going to get even crazier than this. This is like the beginning of something crazy, but the crazy is just a hologram. It's like a game
Right. Right.
that we have all written the
Right.
script for. We've all chosen the parts that we play. I can't, the
Right.
ones that are really in opposition are such strong souls, because they
Sure.
would have had to knowingly agree to play those positions.
Right. Right.
And we're just looking at a play playing out now. For being caught on this, on the backwind of something that has a serious physical impact, that isn't fun. We should have deep compassion for that. We're not laughing at anything in that
Yeah.
way, but watching the overall energy playing out, this is fascinating, because it's just time slips from everywhere. We've got future present coming in with AI from other dimensions. We've got all kinds of things that are just reflections, and they're just here to show us that we've agreed to have this polarity experience, but we're now able to move and evolve if we wish to evolve. It's here for us, and it was always here, but now it's coming from the inside. It's emerging, and it's like a tsunami, and nothing is going to stop this tsunami. So whatever happens, I'm just like, fucking do whatever you want. It's just like, shit, come and check my papers, put me in prison, do
Exactly.
whatever you want, because you can even kill me physically, because I just don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm ready. Let's
evolve.
go.
I'm going to evolve.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do
It's just
it.
so,
I'm just
it's
going to
just
serve
so,
as much as I can while I'm here.
I just wonder how this is going to go, because, you know, I mean, like, it's just weird. But you're right. It's a hologram. It's a projection. A lot of people's intel, one way or the other, including Jason just the other day, said the new year has started. It's now exiting the matrix, so to speak. Those were his words. I saw in a post. But like, what is that going to look like? I mean, I even like saying making plans to reunite with Morgan, right? We're going through what seemed to be the motions and the legalities and so on that we would have to go through. But there's something in the back of my head that tells me that's not what's going to happen. Like, I remember, Patricia Cota Robles is going to be on next Wednesday. And when she came on earlier this year, I asked her about the whole restrictions and everything and what her thoughts were. And she said, the borders are going to go. In other words, the soul has to be free to roam.
Absolutely.
And I think that's part of what you were talking about with this tsunami inside that's not going to be stopped. Like, the soul is going to find a way to do what it rightfully is able to do, to include going wherever it wants to,
yeah,
and so on. But I don't know what that's going to look like.
We've had walking to experience. I mean, my reference for walking is soul expansion, not other being walking in.
Right.
And it's just parts of ourselves. Well, what happens if this happens en masse? What happens if the players that are maybe working in opposition suddenly walk in something very strong? It takes an instant. It can change in an instant. Everything that I've experienced. The other thing was, I did share it the other day, that was really weird but funny, was briefly I was in my childhood home, had some things went on there, and I went outside, and I noticed all the beings. There was many beings in my old childhood home, and they were older. And I went outside, and they started getting very panicked, and they were looking at something, and I was fiddling, doing something else, and then looked up, and there was this massive spaceship, like huge metallic light ship that was like maybe a kilometer wide, sweeping across the landscape. It had like emerald
Were you
lights
seeing
around
this
the
with your,
side.
were you seeing this with your,
Lucid, no, lucid,
oh, I
lucid,
got you. Yeah,
absolutely awake though. It, you know, as real as this reality, lucid
absolutely.
is
Yeah.
for me. And underneath it there was black smoke. It was absolute annihilation. So as it moved across, it was like watching a film, like a conveyor belt of the spaceship moving across, and black smoke underneath. It was complete devastation. And I stood there and looked at it, and I was like talking to the reality machine. And I was like, if we're all going to die, is that the best you can come up with? Like, I was just so bored of it. Like, is that the best you can come up with? But then what this was very, very deep. It was a complete cessation of everything from my childhood literally getting annihilated by my cosmic self. So the spaceship was my cosmic emerald heart, and it was coming in, and it was taking the Velcro from it. It was that day when the new year happened. That was the night before,
That was what,
really.
like 3 or 4 days ago?
Yeah, it was just crazy. It just shows you how you, if you interpret something in a negative slant or with fear, it can hold you and bind you into so many realities that you then create. Whereas if I eased off, because I was like, I didn't feel afraid, I thought this was almost verging on comical. So what was actually occurring there? And then you have to feel it. You just have to have this sense, and your body vibrates, and the information makes itself, and then you know it without it needing to be processed. And I just felt so free. I feel so free
Yeah.
in that sense. Nothing matters. Like, it doesn't matter what I create, whether I would be writing or lying down or walking. It's all the same. It's just that the process inside, the presence that you hold, is
Yeah.
what matters the most. So like with, the borders thing, of course, like we just developed a whole reality that was based on survival and trying to
Yeah.
own things. That was it. That was all. We
Well, it's,
can't own this energy. You can't own it because you're of it.
yeah.
Silly.
It's just so interesting watching things like in Melbourne, where everybody's been watching, and they went from 10,000 to 30,000 to 150,000 to 450 to 800. And I don't know what they're going to get this weekend, but last weekend was 800,000. Yet yesterday they passed these beyond Nazi draconian measures of full control over the entire population, took away the powers. I mean, we're talking like crazy, right? So I'm
It's not going to
wondering,
work.
like, what's going to happen this coming weekend? Will there be 1 million
Well, we can't
people?
really talk about it, can we? Because we'll probably get banned on Facebook. But I think that the likelihood of a emergence,
Yeah,
an emergence movement of non-compliance is highly likely.
I would think so. I would think so, because why would there be such a huge program of propaganda trying to convince everybody that everybody's been vaccinated, that everybody's for the agenda? Why would they have to be just saturating the media and the internet with that if people were actually complying at the level that's
Yeah.
being presented?
Well, it's also the energy, the loosh energy that has been harvested for several
Yeah,
decades or thousands of years is no longer feeding the
yeah,
pony. So it's starving and it's kicking and moving its tail to try and
yeah, yeah. It's like
yeah,
a last ditch effort. It definitely feels like that.
yeah,
I'm just wondering, when I say that, I'm wondering,
crazy.
how is this going to, it's almost like it's coming out of a womb or something. Like, how's this going to pop out? What's it going to look like? Like, is there going to be a moment, where everybody just goes, oh, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty wild though.
Yeah, I like not knowing, and I really like it. And all the idea of seeking's gone. I just like the presence. I want to deepen the presence and just be as present as I can, and be happy with unknowing. Be
Yeah.
happy with just being the portal for whatever's there, and letting it unfold, and really recognizing it in the body as well. I
Yeah.
really love everybody now. My life is really changing in such a beautiful way.
Well, you didn't love us before or what?
No, I did, but I
I'm
felt
just kidding.
sad inside. I felt
Yeah.
often felt very sad and a lot of grief, and because I think having people think all these things are gifts, but they're not always gifts in that way, because it can make you feel very alone and very different. But we're not all different. We're all the same. We're all the freaking same.
Exactly.
Beautiful. It doesn't matter what you do, what your label is. We are all this this unbridled energy, infinite, and it doesn't matter how someone's choosing to live or what their choices are. You have to just see past the word, past the emotion, past the body, past the avatar, past the label, and feel this now. And when we start to do this, it's like a wave. Like the more people that are emanating this, like you say, just with the protests, or the people just being in their truth. I don't feel they're protesting necessarily, they're just showing their truth, and that's infectious.
Yeah, it is. It's contagious.
It's completely contagious.
It's the real virus. It's the real virus.
It is. That's it. It's all opposites, everything we see. So the more that they push that way, the more the more it goes the other way. It's actually really lovely. We couldn't have stayed in the malaise of the way that the fiction drone was making
Right.
its fairground attractions. It was always going to shift off a gear. It's
You
cool.
have I don't want to run out of time because we have another
No,
show.
we are going to run out of time. We always
No,
do.
no, no.
It's all
We're
right.
but we can go over about another 10 minutes. So we've already been on 50 something minutes, 50 minutes. But you have a video that you wanted to share, I think.
Yeah.
Do you want to kind of like set that up? Let us know what this is.
Yeah, well, for those of you that obviously follow my feed, you'll have seen these codes, but this is just a little video. I like to bring you a video when I come as a little present and gift. So I put this together. This is just a compilation of the codes since me and Todd were last really together, and a sentiment of what we are.
Okay. All right. I'm going to kill my mic and I'm going to flip this on. You see it all right? That's mind blowing. That's absolutely extraordinary. I mean, you do all that yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's still in its apologies for the black line there. It's still in its kind of beta, but yeah, of course I do.
Where do you get that music? The music is
The music is by Stelladrone. It's called that piece is called Endeavour, and Stelladrone release royalty free music.
and you must spend hours and hours doing these things. I mean, the intricacy of them, like even like the way the light
Oh, the
illuminate
codes. Yeah.
the
Well,
whole thing, like the draw, that whatever you call them. I mean, they're all over
I
behind
live
you.
it though, Todd. I live it. Um it's not something you do. It's not a career that you choose. You just are it. I am
Yeah,
the code. So all that it is when I come into alignment with the energy, it's ready to birth through me. So when I'm birthing it, it actually comes through quite quickly.
it reminds me a little bit looking at it that close, and like I really like the way you put it together too. The way you zoom in and the way just everything flows. But it reminds me a little bit of Haruka, Haruko. Oh God, I'm gonna mess up the name. She's in Shasta. She does those big composite that are really big on the wall. But there's something about like her stuff and your stuff that's similar to me, which it's like how do you say this? It's like what you guys put up is like what we experience in dimension, even though it's
Yeah,
on
I'm
a
trying
piece,
to
you know.
translate it. I'm
Yeah,
trying to show you what it is that I experience in the way. I know I'm human and I know I'm Susanne and I know I'm here, but I'm living, my consciousness is in this monadic field. It is in a monadic body of light. It's angelic. And I
yeah,
know I'm there and
yeah.
here at the same time. There's no conflict.
No,
There's no conflict. It's
no.
just there. And all of those things that we feel as humans are so dampened down. We've just been so dull. We've been living in this dull, like sufferingness of being. And I want to really convey what this is just incredibly, infinitely beautiful.
I
All
mean,
of
I've
it.
seen obviously other people's stuff out there, but I've never seen it presented that way. Like I've seen your stuff too, but I mean, and been been the recipient of your expressions, but the way the video's done, the way it kind of weaves in the music and the intricacy of the drawings are, I mean, they're like books, like volumes of books, you know.
It's going to get better as well.
Yeah,
It's going to get even better. Yeah, oh yeah. I've the visions I have. It's really like my humans trying to catch up with where I am quantumly. And as I become less afraid of this and shining it out and showing it with the world as well, and just being regular, regular, the tools become available. So slowly the tools are becoming available, and then I have to go human and actually do the hard yards do
yeah,
actually to acquire the skills. So the next skill for me is video, graphical editing, overlaying, bringing the codes into movement. I've got getting better equipment now. There's more more abundance, so I can get better equipment to do the work with, and it's just giving it. And if we lost everything material, it wouldn't matter, because I realize they just emanate out of you anyway. So they're emanating quantumly because they're not mine. The
yeah.
codes are everybody's. They don't belong to me. I'm not attached to them in that way at all. The fluidity. So I'm probably going to mint them at some point.
Well, there's something
Into
about
NFTs.
yeah, there's something about the human physicalizing that which they receive that seems very, very powerful to me. Not just for us individually, like to embody, but it's almost like a collective embodiment, like to bring that not say that non-physical stuff into the physical just seems like a very powerful thing, right? Like I can't even imagine like sitting in your room right now. I'd be lost. It'd be like I'd be in like a labyrinth, like looking at all the different things. Like when I was at Haruka's place, when Morgan and I met her, we just happened to be walking down the street and we saw galactivization room or something like that. Well, let's go in here, and it was her. And then once we got to know her, and then just walking around, you can get lost in these things. And she doesn't have the type of color that you have in your expressions. So and it's still very powerful. Don't get me wrong; it's extremely powerful. But yeah, there's something about that. Something
Yeah, it
about the
just
embodiment.
creates like a light. So it's like a temple of light. I downloaded it in 2018 when I was in Peru. It was the start of recognizing the significance of temples as structures of living embodiment, not buildings that you walk in, and how this would be brought. And I actually feel it's been built. So as I bring a code in, and as I embody a code, the temple or the template of the temple is there for us all, multidimensionally. It's just I'm laying it down as a coder, and this is what I am in my soul avatar. Is I either translate in different dimensional planes and different universes this way, and if it wasn't physical, it's just in other means. There's lots of ways of doing it. It's the same. And like I was not asleep, but I was just like tuned down from it. It was always there, but I churned it up and then turned it up and saw it and went, holy shit, that's too scary. I turned it down again. So now we can play. We can play. And I know I've just been in the field in the light coding community. There was this, I work with incredible beings. We're full of creation.
Oh, absolutely.
We're full of it, and it's abundant. And even people who've come into my retreats or into mentorship, they come in and they're like, well, I've just got this kind of thing that I'm dreaming about and I'm not sure. And then it floods out, and then they're writing and drawing and painting, and
then somebody else walks in with another piece that fits, or just another synchronicity or shared kind of experience when you weren't even together. There's just, it's interesting to see how it's going to unfold. That's where I'm at. Like how is this distortion expanding, and the individual is expanding? Where does that come out to? It just, to me, it feels like a balloon that's being blown up that's just going to pop, something like that.
I think we're already writing the dimension. My eyes, when they attune, see completely different structure to this reality that's overlaid on this reality.
That's, what, that's something else that happened last night. When this portal appeared, I could see, and I'm sure other people see this, but I've seen it a lot in the mind's eye, but I actually saw the geometry of the portal. Which was crazy. It was all these grid lines, and it was this wild, sacred geometric shape. It was like a sphere, like a dodecahedron, but even more, with more sides, I guess, or more angles or whatever, edges. But yeah, that was pretty cool too. Watching that, seeing that. Yeah. Really, well, I don't know what it is. I was just like, wow, this is trippy. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if something was going to appear or walk through the portal or what. So
there's portals in everything, though, isn't there? We could go on all night. Yeah. I know you can run out.
Absolutely. Time, yeah. We're scheduled tight today. We have another one in 20 minutes. I got to prepare for it, but we'll get together again after the first of the year. It's going to be, I think it's going to be hugely expansive in December, January, and February. Hey, we have, for those that are interested, the silent unified togetherness, the silent unification is tomorrow, depending on where you are. But you can go to my page, Soulogy pages, Yvonne, Morgan. But that seems to be something, not just that particular event, but there seems to be a lot of gathering going on with a unified collective intention that seems to be really, really powerful. So anybody wants to join us for that, it'll be happening tomorrow. I love you, Susanne. Thank you
darling.
for sharing that masterpiece. And I'll see you again next time we do this.
Yeah, so much love.
You
And
take care. Peace out.